want to talk today about something that a lot of real estate agents are guilty of, myself included. I've been there as well. But this is something that absolutely repels clients. And it's something that happens really frequently to seasoned agents and newer agents. And especially it's something that we see cropping up in a market like this, like what we're in today, where things are a little clunky, things are a little slower, but also time is still of the essence once we do get that client. And we're talking about frantic, chaotic energy. That is one thing that can so quickly repel opportunities in our real estate business. And I want during this episode to walk through how to tell whether or not you are currently falling into that slump. And I'm gonna walk through what it might be doing to you and your business, what you might be allowing it to do that's negatively impacting your momentum. And then I'm gonna walk through how we correct that, because the beautiful part of identifying this kind of a challenge is it's actually really simple to fix. So while you might be guilty of this, and while even if you're not guilty of this now, it might become a challenge later, just know that this is something that we can correct pretty quickly. Stay tuned, we're gonna get into all of that during this episode. If you have found your way here, you are a real estate pro who's ready to transition from chasing leads to getting dream clients to chase you. This podcast is where you will learn the business and system strategies you need to grow your real estate business so that you can get paid consistently, connect with dream clients, and keep your sanity. Welcome back to the Market Authority Show. I am your host, Stephanie Lugo. Before we get any further, I want to take just a moment because yesterday was a really big day for Market Authority. We shared a brand new live training that is now available as a replay. So if you weren't able to hop on live with us for that live training, which was titled How to Organize and Streamline Your Real Estate Business Without the Overwhelm, no worries, you can get the replay today. All of the links to get that replay totally for free and get that brand new content that I shared, all those details are going to be in the show notes below this episode. And you definitely want to get your hands on it because that is actually going to be a little bit of a tutorial that is going to supplement what we're talking about today. Because it turns out that a lot of times that frantic, chaotic energy comes from not having very simple organization tactics in place. So just know that that is going to be your more in-depth training tutorial to walk through after this episode. But before you hop on over there to get that live training, let's walk through what we're talking about today on the show. Okay, let's start by talking about the impact of this frantic energy with your real estate business. I want to walk through what this might look like for you where you're at today, especially in the market. Now, why is this coming up today? Well, let's just kind of compare what today's real estate market feels like on the ground compared to, let's say, 2021 or 2022, before the market really did that big shift. In 2021 and 2022, it was a lot of reacting and responding. Like there were multiple years there where we kind of just had to handle whatever landed right in front of us, right? The opportunities came up very quickly. It was an obvious time for people to buy and to sell. And there wasn't really a lot that we had to do in terms of like hard skills, because we were really in a space of more so facilitating transactions. And what happens in that pace of the market when things were moving so quickly is the organization, the making sure that workflows are streamlined becomes less important because you're just reacting to and facilitating whatever is directly in front of you. Now compare that and contrast it with today in 2024 and beyond. It's a totally different market. Every single client takes so much more to get the commitment with. And we haven't even gotten into the NAR settlement stuff yet, which I know is on your mind as well and probably causing a little bit of overwhelm if I had to guess. But probably for the last 18 months, every single lead takes so much effort. Every single sale takes so much effort. It takes a lot more time too, if I had to guess, right? Your follow-up is going from, let's get them into a house and write the offer as quickly as we can because that's all the time we've got in this market, to, oh, this client is reaching out to me 6-12 months in advance and they require months and months of follow-up and so much education and guidance in helping support their decision-making on their homeownership journey. It's a completely different approach to business. And if I'm being honest, I'm 10 years in the business this year. When I got into real estate, this is the market it was. It was this pace where it oftentimes would take months and months just to sell a home. We had listings that would sit on the market for quite a while, mostly because that's just kind of the pace of the market. We had buyers who would want to see 15, 20, 30 homes before they eventually chose one that was honestly probably very much like all the other ones they saw. And so this is a familiar territory for me, but I recognize how different our approach has to be in this environment. You're going to have things worked out much more in advance. Your negotiation skills are more important than ever. Your follow-up has to be on point. And because we have so much more time and space in any given day, we have to fill that time with meaningful, productive tasks, right? We're not just getting the call and jumping out of bed and trying to get the work done. We're trying to figure out specifically what we could do because we have so much time and so much space and so much bandwidth, you know? And you may even not feel that way. You may feel like, oh my gosh, there is so much that I want to do, so much that I need to accomplish. How do I streamline it all? It's still going to come down to the same place. If these are not really well tailored, if these are not taken care of in your business, then what results is a frantic, chaotic energy that will repel opportunities in your real estate business. Whether or not you're closing a lot of deals right now, that's what's going to happen. This might look like very last minute attempts to schedule showings for clients or last minute document preparations where you're kind of skipping steps or making silly mistakes that you know you should have caught. And that is never a good look, right? It doesn't feel good for us, and it doesn't feel good for the other parties who catch it, right? Like your brokers who might be reviewing your documents once you upload them. It's going to cause more work too when you're not consistent and just not effective and efficient. You might be in that space too where you're kind of maybe adding more projects than necessary onto your plate, right? In slow seasons, it makes sense to really tackle some of those heavy focus needs projects like updating your website or finally getting your CRM in place or just tinkering around different things that require a lot of time and energy and focus. And because of that, you might be ignoring a lot of the things that you really need to be doing, right? Like doing your daily follow-up, doing your daily lead generation activities that is actually going to help move the needle in your business. And when that happens, what does that look like? We're rushing to complete that follow-up that we kind of forgot to do and reaching out to our clients last minute only to find, well, maybe they walked into an open house and bought with another agent, or maybe, just things didn't feel good for them. And so they changed their mind and they pushed out their timeline again. And you're left with that sense, that like crushing feeling of why am I putting so much work into this and not seeing the results yet? I think a lot of us might be feeling that in this market where because every single deal, every single lead requires so much more, there is that absolute crushing sense of like failure almost when we don't see the immediate results. And that is going to more so fuel that frantic energy challenge that we're trying to overcome here. And your clients are picking up on it. And this is why this is so costly to your opportunities. Because when you have that sense of like frantic, chaotic energy, even in a market that doesn't necessarily feel frantic and chaotic, your clients are going to pick up on that and they're going to lose a little bit of confidence in your guidance and in your service. Even if you feel like you're doing a pretty good job of like keeping everything shielded from your clients and still putting on a really strong, confident face, they feel that energy and it's going to come through in your communication and in the way that you are showing up to provide an amazing client experience. And that is going to be the final nail in the coffin here. That is going to cost you those opportunities. It's going to happen whether you're trying to hold on to one client at a time and you're holding it really close, really tight because you don't want this one deal to blow up. And it's also going to happen when you are still a solo agent and you're closing 4, 5, 6 deals a month. And at this point, you're drowning because you absolutely need some support. You need a little bit of a team to help you. But you have been so disorganized and so not streamlined for so long that you almost can't take the time to put those systems and new hires in place. Because the moment you do, you're taking your eye off the ball of closing those clients and your income is going to dip. That energy is going to come through as well, right? And so regardless of where you are on either side of that coin, this is a problem. And I want you to kind of get a little bit of a gut check right now. So from what I'm sharing, are any of these details ringing true for you? Do any of these sound familiar? Do you feel like, oh, things are really slow and I'm still running around and winging it like a chicken with my head cut off? Or are you definitely producing, sales are clipping along, and you're drowning and you're exhausted and you're not taking care of the relationships that matter the most to you? Maybe this is a time to focus on correcting what is creating that energy and that stress and overwhelm in your business, not only to save yourself some sanity, but also save yourself some clients. Because I can guarantee you that is going to cause challenges in your client's willingness and ability to commit to you fully and see you through to the end of that transaction. Hey, it's Stephanie. A quick note for you, if you are really hanging on to every word of this podcast and you're like, okay, this sounds really good, I think that this is what I need to be doing in my real estate business to get to that next level, then I have something for you. We recently have actually unveiled an entirely new, upgraded set of workflows and templates for the agents in the Market Authority Academy. So if you're thinking about all of the different routines for buyer and seller transactions, for the admin work that you need to do on a weekly basis for your team, if you're thinking about all of those tiny things that you need to do for your database marketing to stay on top of it all, and the prospecting and everything else in between, then you are going to love what we have put together in the Market Authority Academy. The Market Authority Academy is a hybrid mentorship program that comes with your own coaching option for 6 months, and it comes with an entire A to Z blueprint of my detailed systems and workflows that I have spent the better part of 10 years refining and creating for my real estate business that you can actually plug into your existing real estate business immediately. All you got to do to learn more about the Market Authority Academy and see if this is a right fit for your business is to book a call with me and my team. Here's what happens when you book a call with my team and I. You're going to hop on a call with us, and we're going to have about 30 minutes to kind of just have a strategy session. This is going to be the most productive time in your week, because what we're going to do is ask some really specific questions around what challenges you're feeling, like what's working really well and what's not, and where you want to be instead. If it seems like we can help you bridge that gap, then we're gonna walk through the steps in the Market Authority Academy that are going to make the most important and impactful difference in your real estate business. And if that seems like something that you're gonna wanna move forward on, then we'll walk through what options you can go through and join with the Market Authority Academy from there. It is a super productive conversation, no strings attached, no one's gonna be there trying to hard sell you. It's just an opportunity for us to learn more about each other. I want to learn about your business and see how I can help, and if it seems like I can, then I'm going to walk you through how we do that. All the details to book your call and apply to the Market Authority Academy are in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. So what is the solution? Truly, and I know I've been talking about this for a while on this channel and on this podcast. This might sound a little bit like I'm just like beating a dead horse at this point, but truly organization here is key. You may have heard me talk about systems and workflows in your real estate business. If we boil that down, all that comes down to is your level of organization in your real estate business. And you can be relaxed about how organized in your business. Being organized does not mean that you have to be a level 100 type A, absolutely on it every single time real estate agent. But it does mean that you should have your stuff decently together, okay? You need to have your priorities in line, and you do need to have some workflows that are going to be dialed in enough to support you and your business regardless of what market you're in. And so again, it comes down to organization and streamlining your workflows. That is going to be key here. in order to help move you from that frantic energy to a more confident and calm energy that people are attracted to, that they want to be a part of. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how to do that. And again, this was something that we went pretty deep into in that recent training from yesterday that I shared. So just know you're gonna have like the step-by-step in the show notes when you register for that replay. But when we are organized, it does a couple of things for us. It doesn't mean that we have to work 12 hours a day, and it doesn't mean that we can't make room for failure or changing the plan. That's not it at all. Instead, being organized means you're really clear on your priorities. So what specifically you need to be paying attention to every day. So for example, where you're gonna see this the most in your real estate business is waking up in the morning and having some sense of what to expect in that day. Now, real estate, obviously, sometimes the unknown happens, and that's part of what keeps this business fresh and unpredictable and spontaneous, which a lot of us love. We love that every day is a little bit different, but at the core, we do have to have a sense of like what we expect each day. And so imagine yourself waking up, having your morning routine, and pulling up your laptop once you're ready to start your working hours, and you know what tabs to open. It sounds simple, but like, where are you going into first? Are you immediately when you wake up and start your workday, are you diving into your inbox for like hours and hours, responding to other people's problems and not actually getting anything right done for your business? That's a problem. That's a true sign of a lack of organization, right? Are you adding on so many projects onto your goals list for this quarter that you can never possibly get it done in time? And without that forward thinking or understanding how much time and energy any one project is going to take you in your business, without that understanding, are you setting yourself up for failure, right? And like feeling like you're a failure before you even begin. That's going to cause that sense of just frantic energy, right? It's just not a good look. We don't need to be doing that. And when we are operating from that space, what's going to happen is your consistency is going to drop. So number one, one of the number one challenges that I hear from real estate agents who I'm speaking to constantly, like every single day, I'm having these conversations with real estate agents. And the number one challenge they can pinpoint in their business is a lack of consistency. That is like the surest sign that these organizational workflows are not in place. You're not going to be consistent, which means you're not going to see consistent results. And you're going to see your high quality service start to suffer. It's not going to be that high quality. It's not going to be that fulfilled with every single transaction, especially if you're winging it every single time, right? What we really want to do is focus on implementing the right organizational workflows so that we can be more consistent, we can be more confident, and we can ensure that every single client gets an amazing client experience so that they understand why they should be referring you, or helping you connect with other opportunities in your market, or coming to you when it's time to do a repeat transaction, right? So one story that I think of a lot is Stacy, who was just on this podcast last month. And Stacy is not a new agent. She's got a couple years under her belt, but this is more of a slower season than she has experienced before. And a lot of it has to do with her market where she's located. Things were just slower in the spring than they typically are. And again, I know a lot of us have felt that this year in 2024. It's not that big of a surprise, but what was a surprise was how well she navigated that slower season. So Stacy was able to navigate that slower season in her real estate business and really take that time to focus on getting organized and foolproofing her workflows so that she was taking advantage of a slower cadence, right? And just being really methodical in how she was approaching her real estate business, and maybe also taking a little time for family, which is so important, but also continuing to focus on the right priorities and the right activities so that her business would return those results to her. And sure enough, after about 2 or 3 months of feeling that seasonal slowness, everything started cropping up. Like her phone was ringing off the hook. She started getting all of these incredible opportunities from her farming efforts. that she has put so much effort into this year. She's getting referrals. She's getting all of these really great new leads and opportunities that seemingly feel like they come out of nowhere, but are in a direct response to how she treated her business during that slower season and focused on getting organized, right? And so that's just one example of what it looks like in the benefits of really organizing your business so that you can focus more on these top priorities to then see the results that you're looking for. So in order to really harness this, let's talk about some strategies that you can use to get more organized, get more streamlined, and start to see a shift from that frantic, chaotic energy and instead fall into more of a confident, calm energy that just attracts clients instead of repels them. Well, first, we want to make sure that we're having a really structured workflow, okay? And so I've said workflows a couple of times, but realistically, what that looks like is, what are you doing on a day-to-day? Do you know what you're doing each day, and are you doing them enough? Are you doing those tasks consistently and frequently enough to eventually see the results that you want to see, right? So like, how often are you going into your CRM and reaching out to the people who need to be hearing from you? What does your follow-up game look like? Are you ghosting your leads after the first attempt? Or maybe you are really on them for a while, and then when they make it clear that they're not ready to go for another few months, you kind of just like ease away and focus on some other shiny object, right? So like, that's one thing that we want to focus on first. And one area that I think of a lot is like, your workday startup has to be ironed out pretty in detail. And again, this does not have to be crazy. We just have to know what we're doing with the first part of our day. The first part of our day needs to be power hour activities that are going to really align with the results you want to see. So if you're in a space in your real estate business where you need leads, like you got to get leads, you got to get paid, you want to fill up your pipeline for the end of the year to make sure that you're not going to be in a big lull once we hit Thanksgiving, then what are your lead generation activities going to look like? And how often do you need to be doing that to see the results? So if you know, for example, that one of your best lead sources this year has been referrals, and you know there's probably still more opportunities there that you can tap into, then you need to be identifying 1 or 2 things that you can do every single morning that maybe takes 15 to 20 minutes that is going to put you in a position to attract more referral opportunities. Maybe that means reaching out to your best referral partners in your database, or scheduling time for coffee once a week for 2 or 3 of your key referral partners. Maybe that means staying on top of your database marketing and scheduling events. Like maybe you're just really good at working a room and setting up an energy that gets people excited, gets people motivated, and gets that buy-in so that people know that they need to be supporting your business. If that's the case, then you need to be spending time each morning scheduling those events and being ready to play hostess with the mostest so that you can start generating those leads, right? Now let's look on the other side. Maybe you are a team leader. And I'm working with a lot of team leaders right now in the Market Authority Academy, my coaching program, and a lot of them have the exact same challenge where they've been in the business for like 15, 16, 17, 18 plus years. And they are so overwhelmed with the administrative just needs of running a team that their ability to actually generate leads for their team has tanked. Maybe they've made some unwise business investments where they've chosen to pay for leads to keep their team agents busy, instead of teaching their team agents how to actively go and generate their own leads that are more likely to convert than strangers from the internet, right? And so a lot of these agents, these team leaders rather, are feeling that stress, especially in the slowness of this season where they've got agents on their team who are just not productive. And because they're trying so hard to motivate their team agents, they're not out there producing their own referral business, and their production is tanking. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg situation. Well, if that's the case, team leader, what do you need to be doing each day to not only get yourself productive so that you are closing deals, but also motivate and activate your team agents? Does every day need to start with a quick sales stand-up meeting? So you're getting on a call or a Zoom with all of the partner agents on your team to iron out maybe some great follow-up scripts they can employ that day, or maybe some lead generation activities that you can help give them or teach them so that they can go out there and start fishing for their own business, right? You have to make sure that you are doing these activities. These are actions that you are responsible for implementing in your team if you have chosen to start a team. But you got to start somewhere, right? So what is that routine going to look like for you? What does that need to be in order to get you closer to the results that you want to see? Now, that's just what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, specifically like at the start of your workday. But there's a lot of ways that we can plan ahead. And I think that that's number 2, like one of the most important things that you can do in your real estate business is plan ahead. And again, some people hear me talking about this and they think like, man, I'm just not a planner. I'm not organized. That's just not my personality. I'm more of a spontaneous wing it type of person. Like, I'm the first person to tell you if you're thinking that. I am too. I am very much a let's just wing it person naturally. Like, that's my natural resting temperature. And so what I needed to learn how to do was to keep that part that's true to me, where I'm creative and I like to pivot and I'm always open to try something new, but within a set of like really strong parameters. And so planning ahead actually allows me to explore that personality of mine and to be genuine, where I'm a little bit more of a wing it kind of gal within structures that I'm planning for. And so for me, what I have found really works is planning my business by the week. I love planning my business by the week because it allows me to flex and pivot with whatever I've got going on. So for example, 2 weeks ago was the last week of school, and they were all bets were off that week. My son, who just finished his first year of preschool, had all of these like class parties, and we wanted to celebrate him, and it's the start of summer for really like the first summer for my kids that they'll like remember. And so we wanted to make it a big deal. And because of that took a lot of time away from business. And so I had to plan the specific things that I knew I needed to get done each day while allowing myself to kind of skirt off the rest of the day once I got those tasks completed, right? This week, a couple weeks later now, this week that I'm recording this in, is very similar in that it is an absolute, excuse my language, shit show. We've got no sitter, no childcare this week, and my husband and I, who's my business partner, we are really busy. We've got a lot on our plates, and so we're playing hot potato between passing off our 2 toddlers as we take turns running to appointments like this one where I'm filming, and making sure that we're getting the most critical things done for our business while we can also pay attention to running a household, right? And like, thank the Lord, we are both basically work from home parents. I'm really, really grateful that we are in that position, because if it was just me and I didn't have Bryce to kind of step in when I needed a little extra help while we don't have a sitter this week, like I would be even less, in control of my schedule. I would have even less time and bandwidth, right? So because of that, I was able to plan my week ahead, and I knew when I would be able to get most of my work done. I can get my work done during nap time, and I can get my work done in the morning before things get crazy with the kids waking up, and in the evening after they go to bed. You're getting your work done in the margins in those situations. And of course, that's a really specific example for me, but you're also in the summer months right now if you're listening to this at the time that this is getting published. And so what do you have going on? Are you planning for that week-long vacation that you have for the summer? Are you planning around your own kids' schedules as they're out of school? Like, what challenges can you be planning around? And just taking 15 minutes on a Sunday to look at the week ahead and make sure that you are going to make time for the things that are running your business and protecting those activities so that they get done. And when they're done, you feel confident in just saying no to anything else. Now, obviously, a part of being able to do that effectively is making time for the right things. Now, am I making time this week to take on a huge project like updating my blog on my new website? Absolutely not. That's not an urgent, critical thing that's going to bring in business. So while that is a project I have been working on internally, it's not something I'm making time for right now. It's going to have to wait. Part of this in organizing and streamlining your real estate business, it really does come down to understanding what season you're in and accounting for that as well. And finally, the last thing that we can do, and we've talked a little bit of a couple of things, right? Number one, setting up a reliable system. So like having the workflows identified on how you need to be prioritizing your work and what that needs to look like for you on a day-to-day basis. Number 2 is planning ahead, really making sure that we're taking time to plan the week in advance and working with what season we're in, not against. Number 3 is going to be, and this should not be surprising to you, but number 3 is going to be to delegate and automate. Okay, so this is a time when we need to allow ourselves the freedom to delegate and automate as much as possible. So we want to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success in terms of delegation. There are a bunch of different forms of delegation. So maybe you're listening to this and you're instantly wanting to tune me out because you're like, well, Steph, I don't have an assistant, so skip. No, that's not really what I'm talking about. You might have an assistant, and I'll address that in a moment. But if you are a solo agent rocking and rolling without any other support, staff on your team, there's still a lot of ways that you can delegate your workflow. And one of the most important parts of that is just by simply templating as much as you can and making sure that you have the right pieces in place that you can still automate and delegate to, like technology, for example. So maybe you know that you need to be doing certain follow-up activities on certain days. Can you set up an automated task reminder on your calendar or in your CRM? Can you set up a reminder to get things done through your smartphone, right? We have a built-in assistant on our iPhones named Siri, and she loves to take reminders anytime we tell her. So there's a lot of different ways that you can still delegate reminders so that you don't forget to do those important things and you can loop back on them when you have the time to focus on them. Now, if you do have a great admin or a great transaction coordinator or a showing assistant who can help step in and support you while you're getting these organizations in place, that is a huge benefit, right? So what can you delegate and get off of your plate so that we can start to get these pieces in place? There's a lot that you can and should be delegating. There's a lot that you can and should be automating. If you just simply make a list of all the things that you feel like you should be doing in a given day, all you got to do is cross off the things that are not absolutely urgent and tied to you generating income. Just eliminate those altogether. So again, the projects that feel really important to get done right now that just don't fit in with the season that you're in, just remove those off your plate. Now, the ones that do require you to complete in order to close deals and generate more business, that is going to be a list that you need to sort between things that only you can do and things that you can delegate. A lot of your client experience can be delegated to an admin assistant or automated through technology. A lot of what you need to do does have to happen by you, and that's what you're scheduling in advance. Okay. All of these put together are really going to help you start to transform that energy. And I want you just to think about this with me right here. How would your energy change if you knew that instead of feeling like you had to do 10 or 15 things today, you knew you only had to do 3? Would that really change the way that you show up to tackle those 3 items? I know for sure for me, it would. I would feel like I had way more time and bandwidth to give 100% focus to those 3 mission critical activities that I had to do. And I know that energy would be picked up on by the people who I was interacting with. If one of those things was to follow up with some clients and schedule some showings, I know that calm, confident energy would be coming through. Whereas if I was trying to reach out to them and get it done as quickly as I could because I had all these other things on my plate, that is where that chaotic energy is going to come through from, right? And so just think about how you can start to pare out your workload right now to give yourself a little bit more room for prioritization, and then organize those priorities into workflows that help you confidently navigate them on a day-to-day basis. That already feels better, doesn't it? That's what we want to be able to accomplish. And that energy is going to be felt by your clients far and wide. It's going to be felt by your audience if you're posting on social media. And it's going to be felt by other cross agents who you're working with as you're representing your clients the best way you can. And so that's why we really want to make sure that we are leaning into this today. And that's what I challenge you with. So take some time today, think about where you can make some more of your space, and begin implementing a little bit of these organizational workflows to feel that sense of calm, clarity, confidence, energy. And if you're ready to start taking action right now, then I want you to go catch that replay from the training that I had yesterday. That is going to be how to organize and streamline your real estate business without the overwhelm. If you liked this episode, or if a lot of this is like scratching an itch you didn't know you had, then that is going to be your next step. Carve out 60 minutes of time to invest in your business, to set up yourself for greater success, more confidence, and more clarity going forward into this summer. You absolutely deserve to do that, and so do the other people who work with and around you. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, keep on crushing it.